Hello, my name is Gil Zilkha. Welcome to my channel. This is my series entitled Essential Classical Music, where we look at the best recordings of the major classical music works. This video is taken out of my larger video covering the major symphonies. If you enjoy this, I hope you'll go over and look at that larger one. Just know that you don't have to watch it all in one big gulp. It is divided into chapters. It's real easy to just click through and choose whichever symphony that you're curious about. So I hope you enjoy it. So let's go now to Johannes Brahms, German Romantic composer, famously stood in the shadow of Beethoven, which is why his first symphony took very long for him to compose. And actually, of his symphonies, resembles Beethoven the most, particularly the end with, he has this sort of like a chorale, but it's with instruments, which sounds a little bit like the Ode to Joy. For this symphony, my top choice is Karajan with the Berlin Philharmonic 1963. And the reason I choose this one is Karajan just had an innate understanding of how the music should go, the ebb and flow of it. It's dramatic, it's powerful, it's beautifully played. It's probably the most focused and intense of his recordings of this piece. So for a first version of the first symphony, this is the one that I would pick. That said, there are more dramatic versions around, particularly this one. Now this is a little bit of sort of the other end of the spectrum. It is more dramatic. It is also more idiosyncratic, a little bit more eccentric, particularly the chorale theme at the very end of the symphony. He kind of broadens that in a way that might be jarring if you're not used to it. But the thing about Bernstein, though, is it's so passionate and exciting, and he was so rhythmic that this is also, in my opinion, an essential version. Vienna Philharmonic, this was recorded in 1983. So it's got excellent sound quality. That actually does come from a complete cycle, as does the Karajan of Brahms symphonies. I don't know if I would recommend the others in that cycle. Again, he was a little bit eccentric and idiosyncratic, but for this symphony, it's worth at least hearing because of the, it's such a powerful, dramatic symphony that it's definitely worth hearing the Bernstein. Here's a conductor we have not talked about yet, Yasha Ornstein. This is with the London Symphony, recorded in 1962. Ornstein is definitely one of the more patient school, the slow building. His recordings they're not always immediately ear-catching or appealing. But if you have the patience to listen through them, he has this way of building powerful climaxes that is really unique. And in this symphony, it really works well. It's also a very well recorded studio performance. Now, of course, if we're talking about patience and slow building power, you can't leave out Klemperer. This is with the Philharmonia, recorded in 1957. Still sounds really good. Klemperer, nobody did those opening thunderous strokes that opens this symphony the way Klemperer does. And of course, he's got that relentlessness and that patience of the way he builds things. The one thing I would say is that compared to, say, maybe Karajan, Klemperer, to my opinion, not everyone shares this. His Brahms cycle is one of the most celebrated complete cycles, but to my ear, his style works a little bit better in Beethoven. With Brahms, I want to hear a little bit more a dynamic feel for the ebb and flow rhythmically. And the way Klemperer kind of moves more methodically like this, to me, doesn't work quite as well in Brahms. But it does work pretty well in the first symphony. And I would say the second as well, which I'll get to in a couple of moments. Now, those are my stereo studio recommendations. I also have to recommend Furtwängler in this one. And this is actually one of the most universally appealing of Furtwängler issues. This is a live recording, 1951. Sounds great in this Tara issue. This is with the North German Radio Symphony, and it's very well recorded, which is one of the reasons why it appeals to a lot of people. And it's just so dramatic and so powerful, almost overwhelmingly so. So that's a top recommendation. Something a little different, though, is a recording from much further back. This is Felix Weingartner. This is with the London Symphony, recorded in 1939. It's from a complete cycle. And Weingartner is very different from Furtwängler. Weingartner was he wasn't as heavy. He was more of a straight-laced conductor, but it was still very exciting, and it was sort of like the lean, mean style, instead of the more larger, tubbier, ponderous style, you might say. Weingartner actually knew Brahms and actually performed for Brahms, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But it's much more than that. These are excellent recordings, and they're a little bit different from what we're used to today, but it's definitely an artistic vision that is worth seeking out if you love Brahms. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you'll also take time to click the like and subscribe buttons. And with that, I want to wish you all a great day and happy listening.